Hey, Bill Oakley here, executive producer and showrunner.
Josh Weinstein, the other executive other guy.
This is Tim Johnson, and I oversaw the computer animation.
David Silverman, supervising director.
Dave Merkin, the live-action director.
And David Cohen, I wrote the episode based on a concept by Bill Oakley.
Thank you, David. If you listen to the commentary on the actual episode, you'll hear about the inception. This is more to talk about the way that we did this computer animation.
You know, for us at PDI, of the many things that were exciting about it, you learned right away when watching The Simpsons, which was done certainly on a budget, that where the comedy came from was not some kind of luscious amount of tons of keyframed animation. It was all in the timing.
Right, right.
And we worked closely with you and with Bob, the director of the episode. We got breakdowns and drawings of the way you would have done it in 2D, and we used that as a starting point because it was just so important to us to feel like we took Homer Simpson into the world of 3D. We didn't reinvent the character.
Yeah, exactly, because Bob did basically character layouts as if he was doing the same character layouts for the rest of the show. He didn't do it any differently or any less. Right?
I still have a drawing in my office at home that you had done, David, that's one of the keyframes of Bart climbing out on the end of the XYZ sign, and it was a drawing, just one of the many animation drawings you provided for us as a guide to how to capture that look. So.
I forgot all about that.
I'll save you, Dad.
Bart's hair freaked us out. This was a terrifying thing to look at that and to watch how it's cheated and used in 2D animation. So we all freaked out until we realized there are actually vinyl dolls of The Simpsons. So we ran out and bought a vinyl Bart to figure out, well, somebody's done this in 3D already. How can we learn from it? And sure enough, we sort of just started from there and built it on the computer.
I'll take my chances in a mystery wall.
But let's talk a little bit about that shot, which I consider the money shot of the thing, or where you see them actually transforming from 2D to 3D. And I remember that was one of the things that I had a very difficult time explaining. I drew my own rudimentary picture, and I said it's like a shower curtain. And on one side is 2D, on the other side is 3D, and they're walking through, and then I think I finally made you draw it.
Well, I know what you're saying, and I thought it was a great idea because I wanted to see that transition because no one had ever really done that, a 2D character going to a 3D character. Part of that was that we wanted that pull, like he's going through, like as you say, like this molasses shower curtain. That slow, like
yeah, that there's a little resistance.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Oops.
Capturing the kind of facial animation that was on these characters at the time was extremely difficult, and I believe it was Dick Walsh who worked many, many late-night hours to try to get those big, extreme, fun mouth shapes that Homer has, and to get the teeth to work but not intersect the gums like he was some accident victim. And I mean, everything about it was actually difficult. We had nowadays you can do fabric and hair and things. And just doing fabric, and of course we cheated a lot on Homer's pants and things, but getting a knee to bend without it looking like a robotic joint, so that there was some sense of fabric flexing. In '95, that was state of the art.
It's like, did anyone see the movie Tron?
It's funny, the rule in computer animation is rendering time stays constant. It still takes hours to render a frame, but now a frame is with leaves blowing and hair moving. I mean, a frame of a typical computer animated motion picture now is a pretty elaborate frame, whereas you look at the stark black grid background and Homer's relative simple model.
We wanted the grid, though. I remember it wasn't like something that. I think the grid, we actually wanted it to look like Battlezone. Or
That's
one of
right,
those
because
games.
I was a big fan of Battlezone as a kid, and that was those old
right.
vector graphics.
Right.
I'm so bulgy.
There's a few in-jokes you have thrown in there. You may have talked about it already, but the teapot is in the background, and the teapot was the very first three-dimensional object ever generated on a computer, done back at Bell Labs or something in the 70s. So there's a little wink on early computer history.
And then PDI.
Well, there were already in the script several equations with sort of good dorky math humor going on up there, but we actually added one of our own. So at one shot you'll see there's a 734 blinking in back of Homer, and if you go to your phone you'll notice 734 are the numerical equivalent of PDI on a phone keypad. So.
The water thing was the thing that really blew us away when we first started. I was like, that's amazing.
And again, now when you see it, you're like, why are they lingering on that shot of water for no reason?
And the big drool out of his mouth. Ooh, that's cool.
Three-dimensional drool, though, that really rocked. Actually, one of the trickiest shots, if you look at Homer falls out of a glaring L.A. haze, and as short as that little clip is as he's falling, it's one of the more challenging parts to light, to make him believably emerge out of atmosphere and not just fade on.
Bill and Josh asked me to direct the live-action Simpsons footage here, and we had a good time shooting this, except for this crane move coming up See, when I called Fox and told them we're doing this live-action piece, they couldn't have been less supportive. They were really like, oh, this is too expensive, we can't do this. And so it gets a little jumpy going up that crane shot there because I wasn't able to stop traffic the way you would normally stop traffic. They begrudgingly gave me the crane, and that was about the best shot I could get because if I tried to swing the arm out of the crane any further than that, it actually would have crashed into all these cars just like a couple feet away in another lane. You can actually see the cars on the right are waiting there, and then they start to move. But other than that, we had a lot of fun shooting the only live-action Simpsons piece in history.
Now, for those of you who didn't see this episode when it was first originally broadcast, it basically changed the shape of the world. It was like the moon landing or something like that, and people it sort of changed.
Bill,
I think
understated.
the outcome of the presidential election, I think, was infected by it to some extent, and also developments in science and
Neil Armstrong said, "I give up."
All right, everybody, thanks for listening.
And take care. Bye.